Larry Joe Bird.
There have been players who were great at one aspect of the game. There have also been some, although far fewer in number, who were outstanding multi-dimensional players. But Larry Bird is one of only a handful of NBA stars who excelled in every facet of the game.
You're the best all-around player that ever played.
Bird takes the pop.
I've always had to develop different aspects of the game to be able to get my shot off.
Larry Bird, oh man, he had a killer instinct. He came for the jugular vein every time he played against you. Wasn't no nights off with him.
You know, you caused me a lot of sleepless nights.
Once he experienced the taste of excelling under pressure, Bird never looked back. 3 straight times in the mid-'80s, he was voted the league's most valuable player. The initial one coming in 1984, when the Celtics faced Magic Johnson's LA Lakers in the first of their epic playoff battles in the 80s.
Bird was a bad somebody.
There would never be, never, ever be another Larry Bird. He's the only guy that I fear that can beat me.
He had a quality that went beyond his skills. He was a winner. He was a champion.
He was the best I'd ever, he's the best I ever played with, against, or anything I've ever seen. People talk about Michael Jordan now and stuff. Michael Jordan can do a ton of stuff, but I don't think anybody was as good in the last few seconds as Larry was.
Goes cross court to Bird. Bird throws it up. It's gone! A three-pointer! Larry Bird hit a three-pointer with 4 seconds to go, and they lead by 1.
I give up. I surrender.
Jordan was 0-6 against Bird in the playoffs.
Right.
That's all I know.
So you're sticking to your guns?
That's all I know.
I think he was motivated by pride.
He had the ability to lift his game to an even higher level just when his team needed it the most. And that's what defines greatness in any athlete. Not just the ability to pile up numbers, but the ability to come through in the clutch and under pressure.
Bird up fakes. Bird takes the shot. It's gone! Oh my goodness! I can't believe it! It is gone!
A lot of players in this league that can score the first 3 quarters of the game, but you get down to the 4th quarter when you need a basket, you can separate the men from the boys. It's been like that, and it's always going to be like that. You're always going to have the guys that come up with the attitude that they can make the last shot or make the big play. I don't know what makes a player do that, just their competitive nature and their will to win. And if it comes down to one shot, I want to be the guy to take it.
It's going to go to Bird. He's got a shot. Get it, gone! It is gone. It's a 3-point field goal. And that's it. It's all over.
You were the most feared player. I feared you more than anybody else because this man would find a way to win that damn game.
Gets it on the sideline, goes baseline, throws it up, and Larry Bird did it again! He did it again! Oh my goodness! He did it again!
Larry Bird couldn't jump this high. He couldn't run at his peak faster than I can walk today. But Larry Bird, he just outthought everybody.
What a move by Larry.
Remember when Bird stole the ball against the Pistons?
Imagine for a young kid growing up in Detroit, grew up rooting against Larry Bird every chance I could get. I remember the day. Bird steals the ball underneath the DJ. I shed a tear that day.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right at 1 second left. What a play by Bird.
Like the great John Havlicek before him, Bird, too, saved his most memorable clutch moment for defense. In Larry's case, it was the 5th game of the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals against the Detroit Pistons, when the Celtics found themselves in need of a miracle.
Detroit's ball out of bounds with 5 seconds to go, and I tell you, Isaiah Thomas made a play he'll remember the rest of his life.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right at 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the inbounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up and in. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left. Oh my, this place is going crazy.
Detroit gets the ball, and I was sort of sitting on the floor waiting for Detroit to call a timeout. But I got back up, and I seen that there wasn't going to be no timeout, and when Isaiah lofted the ball to Lambert, I cut all the way over from Dumars in front of him and just barely got my fingertips on it and caught DJ cutting out the corner of my eye. He laid it in.
That Larry Bird was the truth. Ain't no question about that.
And I always remember thinking like, boy, you know, this white guy really can play, can't he?
Born and raised in the USA?
No.
No.
There's
Thank
only
you.
one Larry Bird.
Michael Jordan is as stylish as they come. Irvin Johnson's style is sometimes pure magic. And Charles Barkley's is flash and brute force. They will write their styles into basketball history. If you were writing a book about basketball, the people you just saw would merit a chapter or two. But ask any basketball expert, and they'll tell you that if you're rewriting the story of basketball, the author, Larry Bird.
To fully appreciate what Larry Bird accomplished in his career, you have to first fully understand what he overcame in his life. French Lick, Indiana. Population 2,087, cannot be touched by interstate. Only country backroads can bring you into the second poorest region in the state, an area where the average income is just over $9,000.
One night we was sitting there and LSU came on. Pete Maravich was playing, and I was just amazed at what he was doing with the basketball. And he ended up getting 44 that game. And after the game, my dad said, "I tell you what, son, you keep practicing." He said, "Maybe one of these days I'll coach you and let you shoot it every time you touch it." So I always got a big kick out of that.
Larry credits his first coach, Jim Jones, with instilling in him the fundamentals and work ethic that would symbolize his great career.
1973-74, Larry Bird's senior year in high school. State's leading scorer, state's leading rebounder, leading his team to the championship game in the regional.
Now we come to the subject of, this is bird country.
Oh, this is bird watching country, but this is a rare bird. There's a meteor called Halley's Comet that appears once every 76 years. And that's what they call him down here, is Halley's Comet. He has unbelievable ability, and welcome to Larry's world.
Larry's quest for basketball perfection was developed at an early age, almost out of necessity. During his long practice hours, he wondered, why go home when there's nothing to come home to? He grew from a scrawny 6'1" sophomore to a gangly 6'3" junior to a 6'7" star who would average 30 points and 17 rebounds his senior season. When Larry graduated from Springs Valley, he did what any good Hoosier basketball player wants to do, play for Bob Knight at Indiana. But at age 17, Larry Bird had never been more than 50 miles away from home for longer than a weekend at a time. His stay in Bloomington lasted just 24 days. Saying he felt lost and out of place, the local hero was headed back home.
I don't think that I was either quite smart enough or quite understanding enough of Bird's situation when he was here. He was from a small town down in southern Indiana, French Lick, and had some tough things in his life growing up, and came here, and I kind of approached it when he left toward the end of September. Well, you know, I wouldn't have chased May or Buckner or Abernathy, and I'm not going to chase Larry Bird either. Well, probably at that point in his life, Larry needed somebody to chase him a little bit and to show a little bit more compassion for his situation than I did at that time.
I get back to campus and I see Scott May and my brother, Lauren, who happened to go to Indiana University. And I asked my brother, I said, well, where's this kid named Bird? And my brother says, yesterday I saw him out on this road, and it's called 37. I saw him on 37 with his luggage. I think he went home.
Did you feel like a failure when you were hitchhiking home?
No, I was glad to get out of there. The only thing I was worried about is when I got home how my family would react. And I can remember my mom was mad at me for 3 or 4 months after that. The first month we didn't even speak. And I can understand that, but I made the decision to leave, and I was going to stick by it. I had everybody talking to me, trying to get me to go back, but I couldn't.
Larry Bird put Indiana State on the basketball map.
I had some friends who I kept in contact with while I was still back here at Indiana State, and they never saw Indiana State or Larry Bird on TV. So because of the numbers that he would produce, they assumed that Larry Bird was a black player. And I thought, never thought of that, but they just thought that, a guy can do that kind of thing as far as score and rebound and dish out the assist. Must be a black athlete.
2 years later, basketball's secret weapon was no longer a secret to the rest of America. The Sycamores, who were unranked in the preseason polls Larry's senior season, breezed through the regular season unblemished. ISU tacked on a couple more wins during the NCAA tournament, including a 2-point victory over DePaul in the semifinals.
Bird. Great pass. Oh, and that dunk. Bird gets it. Oh! There you go, Larry Bird coming in. Bird. Over Watkins. Here's what you're talking about, Al. He pushes him back in with a good ball fake. Solid fundamentally. Holds the ball above his head. Great release. Excellent rotation on the ball. The guy's incredible.
He gets super balance on his jump shot.
In this game, Larry Bird inside, and Bird controlling the game offensively. Daly is just staying in place. Set play coming off the low double post.
Mark McGuire fell asleep on that. He should have picked up Larry Bird.
Bird. Oh, what a shot. Does he ever miss? There he is, and there it is. Larry Bird ties it at 26. Oh! Hey. Great assist. You're right. Larry Bird. Bird tips it in. He's everywhere. Bird. Oh, what a touch. Oh, danced it on the rim and dropped it in. We're even at 38. Bird has 20 points. Well, back to Bird. Great pass. Oh, what a play.
Unbelievable 83%.
Watkins too late getting there. There's the beautiful soft touch inside. That was the basket right before this one. Larry Bird hits him with a block, but Bird is there again. Larry Bird with 31. What a pass. What a pass. They hit those three. Oh, what a kick.
Larry Bird, man, Larry Bird's another guy that I have a lot of respect and admiration for. Watched him develop as a collegiate player. I remember him his junior year at Indiana State, had a great year, kind of first burst on the basketball scene. Then his senior year, they were at 33-0 at one point, winning every single game. He's a guy I'd watch play collegiately on TV and just knew that he was going to be a great NBA basketball player. A lot of people had some doubts about him, white guy, slow, whatever, but you watch his flair, how he passed the basketball, how he shot the basketball. He moved on the floor at 6'9", 225 pounds. The way he moved was just a thing of beauty.
Even though I knew I was probably going to shoot it, and if I did, I was probably going to make it, it would draw the defense to me, and it would open the court wide open.
Tip off Larry Bird. No goal. Indiana State won it. Larry Bird off the backboard. Bird from the corner. We just passed too many times. There's Bird. Now takes a shot. Oh, my.
There's one in your face. Here's where you catch Larry Bird. Watch him put the ball in the face there, fake it in the face, then now watch him shoot it. Unbelievable. You know how far away that is? That's in left field.
Oh, look at that pass into Bird.
3 blocks is like 2 miles in New York. There's only 1,800 people live there.
They win their 26th in a row. Larry Bird from way outside. Indiana State has scored in spurt. Oh, here's a long one again. Hicks driving, forces the shot. Bird comes up with it, puts it up, and it is good.
Here he comes in isolation on Larry Bird. Here it is. Now watch this Diane Swan hook shot. Doesn't jump too high, 4 or 5 inches. Keeps his eye on the rim.
Pass off. Staley from the side, no good. Guess who's there? There's Bird by himself. Look out.
I think UCLA and Notre Dame have raised the white flag.
Look at that. There's a better play coming up. 41 points. Well, he's got 41 points already. He's putting on quite a display. We ask him if it's fresh. Nix shooting high. Bird is there. He's got the ball. He's got the shot. He's got the basket. He's within 1 point of his
I define a shooter as one that understands how to make shots and do that consistently.
A shooter is range and accuracy, okay, and consistency.
Back to third. Oh, what a play.
Being able to go out there and just get in the rhythm and shoot and from 15, 18 foot and make 60, 70 in a row. To me, that's a shooter.
Chapter 1.
I just shoot any type of shot. I'm not afraid to take an off-balance shot or a three-point shot. I just get in one of them grooves, and I don't know what makes it go in. Sometimes it releases out my hand before I even think about it. I think it's just the fact that I've shot some of these shots 1,000,000 times.
He squares up. Very seldom does he take a bad shot. I think his background in Indiana has been tremendous help to him, because I think players who come from that part of the country, especially Indiana, get the great fundamentals.
There's nothing like going out there and throwing up shots and know that they're probably going to go in.
My favorite jump shot shooter was Larry Bird. He set the way for us, shooters. And shots he used to shoot, I was like, God, that is amazing.
Off to Bird. He's there. He got it.
You hear guys say they get in the zone. It's not just the scoring part of it. It's that everything's geared to you and everything else is so easy to do. And you can just tear a team apart.
He was probably the single most dominant player in college basketball in the last 35 years.
He would come out and start right underneath the basket. Took the ball and bam, just every time until he made every single one. And then he would take a 6-inch step back until he made every one. And then another 6-inch. Larry never stopped backing up. That's the unlimited range that he had.
He was the best deep shooter that I've ever seen. He can shoot from deep and had no conscience whatsoever. And that's what made him even better.
He was the best man.
The championship matchup would prove to be Act 1 of a long-running two-man play that would eventually leave a lasting impression on the sport. Bird didn't know his team would make it to Salt Lake City that year, but he had a premonition Magic's team would.
I remember the first time I seen him play was my senior year, and they were playing against the Russians. And, they would dunk and pass, and you could tell he had control of the game from the beginning. And we played the Russians that year, too, and we had a close game. They beat them, 15 points, 20 points. But you could just tell that he was a great basketball player.
Indiana State's one for all couldn't beat Michigan State's all for one. Bird and the Sycamores' magical season couldn't make their final opponent disappear.
All-American, we go to the finals. We lose to Michigan State. After the game, he tells me, I need to go to the boys club, and I need to work out and shoot. I need to work on my game. Hey, we had a great year, man. What are you talking about? I'm going home and I'm going to brag. I'm not going to play any ball, but that's just the difference.
When Larry Bird left behind the towns of French Lick, West Baden, and Terre Haute, Indiana to come here to the city of Boston, the hopes and dreams of an entire franchise were pinned squarely on his shoulders.
Bird was a junior eligible when the Celtics selected him as the 6th pick in the 1978 draft. Bird joined the Celtics a year later, signing the largest rookie contract in sports history at the time. Bird was entering the NBA at a time when 80% of its starters were black. He was joining a last-place team with a me-first attitude, a team that had posted the most losses in franchise history the previous season. He refused to be turned into a symbol representing the Great White Hope.
Larry Bird could walk, literally in his heyday. He could walk into any black neighborhood in America.
blacks were skeptical of the knight in shining armor.
Well, you know, the league needs great white players. The league needs great black players, you know, because it's great for marketing, great for the league, you know, fans and everything. And so I thought they were really just pushing somebody to be a great white player. I didn't think he was as good as everybody's saying he was. But once I came in and started playing with him, I realized then that everything they said about him was true.
You know, we sit back out and have a beer out in the locker room, and we was maybe talking. It's like, you know, white boy just lit you up. And I used to always say that, you know, like to my friends, it's like, yo, is Larry really that good? I used to say like, yeah, that's the baddest white boy I ever played against.
Yeah, Gator, Flag, G.O.A.T. Ain't nobody ever gave me shit. I had to get my own chance to make it out the field. Slim as a chicken bone. These lames don't want us to shine. I hear it in their tone. All I really want to do is rhyme. I be in my zone. Yo, this new era, I do not feel it. I know you think my shit hot, but do not steal it. I be spitting out grease like a hot skillet. Anything you hear me on, you know that I'ma kill it. These new niggas, it's so ass. Don't come around my way, you get no pass. I don't even know what's going on these days. You ain't understand? Well, let me rephrase. Ain't nobody gave me shit, just mama. Not Reagan, not Clinton, not the Bushes or Obama. A nigga hit the block early, pitching at Madonna. By the age of 12, I smoking marijuana. Spitting 16s, battle rapping, trying to make money. I'm authentic and y'all niggas is fake money. You see the flow with something they never take from me. You only hating on the Gators cause your cake funny. Broke niggas, they stay hating. Want a brother to fare well, keep waiting. I'm the truth, go ahead with the screw face.
So you're seeing a guy like Bird coming in and dominate.
He was ridiculous. He came in here. I remember our sportscaster played the Superman theme when he was talking about him that night after the game because he did everything,
Right.
Points, rebounds, assists, just steals, you name it. Larry has such a great mind for the game and, you know, a great touch. I had a lot of respect for him as a competitor.
Don Carter, the owner of the Mavericks team, to get back here at 3 in the morning with Larry Bird. Again, he's short, and Larry Bird. Unenviable pass right there. And that's a good pass from Walton to a cutting Larry Bird. Seasting finally misses, but Bird doesn't. Bird gets a three-point try, and count it. And again, there are the Celtics, Larry Bird. Good play. Larry Bird. Of course, he's one of the leading three-point field goal shooters is Larry Bird. Larry Bird. Larry Bird. And Larry Bird has 32. Just moments ago, Ellis goes for the steal, and Larry Bird with the left hand. Wennington can't get it to drop. Larry Bird, three-pointer. Count it. Two-man game for Boston. Larry Bird only needs one man. Very strong hand. They lead by 4 with 12 seconds. Bird, three-pointer. Count it. Larry Bird comes back with a clutch play.
The legend of Larry Bird really took root almost from the first moment he stepped onto an NBA court. Boston wins became a familiar phrase around the NBA when Larry Bird joined the Boston Celtics in 1979. In his first season, Bird helped the resurgent Celtics improve their record by 32 wins. And a year later, against the Houston Rockets, he led Boston to the NBA championship.
His own shot.
Bird pops out, takes it through. Bird just right around McRae. Bird will try deep.
He should be a lawyer.
Bird's free.
Will have to be the ball handler.
Bird picks off the pass. 9th turnover. Wedman won't get down. Larry there for the follow. Got it. Bird, there's the backdoor play. And Peterson picks up the foul.
All right, how many times have we seen that play, Mike?
Twice a game for the last month, huh?
Unbelievable.
Finds Larry top of the key. Bird's quick turnaround. Very good. Bird for 3. Make it 31.
Oh, Larry.
Spins through. I'm not sure what that was.
A double team that didn't double. And he's trying to go one-on-one on Reed, looking for the double. And McDowell gets down there, but not quick enough.
He was one of the first stretch fours.
Right. Right. We sit
I
there.
mean, we talk about what's going on today.
You
talk about a guy who was 6'9", 6'10", playing the four, shooting threes. That was unheard of back then.
Best passing forward that's ever played.
Chapter 2 is passing. While all of Larry's passes may not be fundamental, in this chapter he always seems to get the ball there.
I realized that you can move the ball up the court a lot quicker if you pass it opposed to dribbling it up. Some of the passes I make, I try that really might have a very slim chance of making it, but you got to try it, because if you get double teamed, there's an opportunity that somebody's going to be open somewhere.
He has such supreme confidence in his passing ability. He knows if he draws two people, he's probably going to produce something better in the form of a layup. Bird does it instinctively. It doesn't take any effort. He doesn't have to turn his head. He looks at the entire floor and he sees movement and color.
The Celts won 61 games in Bird's rookie season. A year later, he would guide Boston to the first of his 3 titles. 3 years later, he would earn the first of his 3 consecutive MVPs. He was cocky, he was arrogant, and he was driven by being the best player on the best team.
You want to have them days where everything goes right for you, either passing, shooting, or playing good defense. And once it does, you don't feel like anybody can really stop him.
Now in this chapter, the other team has the ball, but when Larry's on the court, not for long.
It's all anticipation. You watch the other team, you watch the plays that they call, you watch the plays that the coach calls from the bench, and you anticipate where the ball's going, and you anticipate what your man's supposed to do, and you just go from there. It's a lot of luck.
Tony holds the ball, and Bird steals the ball from Tony. And that's it. It's all over.
He isn't blessed with a great deal of jumping ability, but he's blessed with knowing where to put his body. He puts his body on the right part of the floor to defend. He has great anticipation.
And the final chapter, in the clutch, we find out just why Larry Bird is rewriting the book of basketball. And soaring over all challengers. With a dedication unmatched in sports, we now know why they say, get the ball to Larry.
Sometimes he gets in the fourth quarter and 3 or 4 minutes ago, and everybody will come and say, okay, Larry, it's time to take over. You know, that's the greatest feeling in the world. Here you're playing with some of the best players in the game, and here they come to you and say, okay, it's time to take over the game. And that's a heck of a feeling.
Old lady like dude, so much sass. I'm so nice with this rap shit, I should teach a class. Learn you lame something, show you how it's done. And I ain't even going hard, I'm just having fun. Can't none of these lames see me, not near one. Niggas try to take a shot at me, boy I dare one. I'm on a level niggas ain't, and they won't be. Somebody better than Gator, that's something that I don't see. My whole team speak Greece, youngest to the oldest. Our music be the hottest, attitude be the coldest, flow be the meanest, clothes be the cleanest. That's the reason why your bitch all on my penis. When it come to getting dope, we extremists. Gator running through my veins, no intravenous. If I ever fall off, that's when the streets is sabotaged.
You and Larry Bird, teammates for a long time. What's your best Larry Bird story?
We were on the road, and Larry used to like to have a little bit of fun, like we all did. We were all young. We'd go have a few beers after the game and stuff. And so Larry decided on this road trip that he wasn't gonna drink, wasn't gonna go out, was gonna go to bed early, was gonna take care of himself, and have a great road trip. He went out. He was about 3 or 4 days into this. We play our game. We play in Golden State. He goes 0 for 8. First time I ever saw him go 0 for 8. He walked in the locker room, and we're all just going like, we'd never seen Larry go 0 for 8 like that. And Larry goes, that's it. He goes, I can't hang out with Chris Ford. Going to bed's not good for you. So we stayed out pretty late that night. And the next night he had about 38 in Portland.
Bird's pull up on Thompson. That leaves Bird open. They go to Bird, quick turnaround. Thompson doing a good job of staying with Dennis Johnson on the way up. Bird, got it! Portland, a nice job of covering up. Bird, three-pointer, bang! Bird just really wants the ball. He just kind of said to Danny there, give it back to me. That's why, I guess.
Well, when you feel it, you got to go with it.
Bird's quick fall away for 2. And get it up quickly. Bird wants it, gives it up. McHale for 2. People get the pass. Bird, yes, finds Bird, wants it. Got it. 6:10 to play. Bird in the middle. Got it. Top of the key, Larry. Spins, drives. Got it! Well, he just spun away from Kersey, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, right there is a little hand contact from Michael Thompson that could have been called.
Double team and Bird. Larry, fake, fall away.
Hits it at the buzzer. All right.
Unbelievable.
That is just unbelievable.
But the magic of Larry Bird was not on the basketball court, was not in the locker room. It was in his ability to create an atmosphere.
But I remember the one time we played Indiana in the playoffs. This is the first time he's come back. So he walks through the tunnel. I'm in the layup line, and all I hear is a loud roar. I'm like, man, who? I'm thinking, you know, Russell, Cousy, somebody in the building, and it's Larry Bird. They're chanting, Larry, and this is the playoff game. And it was like, whoa, there go Larry. This is my first time seeing him this close. Right. You know, so, you know, he just left an aura.
Bit of a break tonight with Ken Norman. But you've got to be careful.
Campbell gives for Bird. He hits his second shot. Bird, the trailer.
Yes.
Gives to Bird, who just came back in. Yeah! 3-on-1. They give to Bird, back to Gamble. They go to Charles Smith. Bird blocks the shot. Self's trying to get hot. Bird's shot is good over Smith. Reggie comes away with it. Bird in his range. Bird pops out off the pick. Bird leans to the three.
Here's Bird's backbreaker. Fakes using the Parrish pick, and as the defense collapses, he steps back. Watch him now. Well, we didn't see it. Watch him give Bannister the sign for the high five, and Bannister gives it back to him.
No wonder they don't have leadership. You would have punched him in the mouth.
Exactly. At least kick him in the groin or something nasty, you know. God bless it.
Bird again, alley-oop. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. How well he does it.
Larry was just an intense competitor. Not one word ever said on the court between us.
You couldn't ask for some better talent than what you have here tonight. Bird and Marcus Johnson.
I remember we were playing him one time, and Kersey, this redhead referee, was reffing, and our game plan with me was always to try and play him physical, to kind of, you know, bump him off his game, try and deny him the basketball. And Larry told Jess Kersey, you're like, Red, get him off me, get him off me. And Jess Kersey like hit me with 2 quick fouls. And I just looked at Jess like, Jess, come on, man, you know, what the heck is this? But that's kind of the stature that Larry had started to reach after about 3 or 4 years in the league. And I'm frustrated as I've ever been as a basketball player.
You know, you just get that feeling that you just can't miss. You know, the great players get it a lot more than the average players. I mean, I see it happen with Larry Bird more often than any other player in the league.
And so I went back to my room and I wrote this poem. And the poem goes, it's out of my hands. No control, no say, acquiesce to someone's demands. It's out of my hands. Rule of thumb is to act real dumb and pretend that there's nothing wrong. But if your senses are real and your mind is intact, it's kind of hard to go along. It's out of my hands. You acquiesce to someone's demand. You play the game, you perform the role, but then you try real hard not to console yourself too long after you're through. Because it's not really a test of a man, but only when the scale is grand, you find who's really who. It's out of my hands. It was a release of frustration and just trying to remind myself that there are bigger things than basketball, and not to get so wrapped up into what was going on the basketball floor that it caused me to be bitter and to be angry and to be frustrated.
While his wars were with Magic, his battles were waged with the rest of the league.
It was a tie game. They had the ball, and DJ was stalling the basketball. And Larry was kind of standing outside behind him, like denying him the ball. And they called a timeout, and he turned around and looked at me and said, I'm going to score right here on you. And I said, I know you will. I'll be ready.
10 seconds. 5, and Bird has the basketball. Look out. 2 seconds on the clock, and timeout used by the Sonics.
And he shot a turnaround jump shot. And I just looked back, and the ball just went in, hit all net. And he said, I told you so. Another time it was when we was playing him, he had like 42. Kemp was a freshman. He told Sean Kemp that I'm the best F player to ever come from Indiana, and shot a 3-pointer in his face, all net. we was like, Larry uses picks probably better than any players ever played the game. And Larry was on the box, and Robert Parrish was coming down to set a pick on me. The Chief didn't shoot, didn't throw a good pick. So while Larry's in the air, he's got the ball right here, and he's screaming at Chief for not setting the pick. And I'm like, you're screaming at a guy in the air for not setting the pick, and he makes the jumper. I'm like, I couldn't believe that.
And he was one of the biggest trash talkers that you'll ever see in your life.
Okay, that's what I want to hear
about. Larry
about.
talked more trash on the court than anybody. He'd tell you where he's going. He'd tell you when he catches it, there's nothing you can do about it. He was, and it was great trash talking because it wasn't vulgar. I mean, he wasn't, pounding his chest. You can just be standing next to him. I would jump out and try to block a shot on rotation, and he'd say, Scott, you're not getting that. Why are you even jumping? Why are you running out here? But it was all game.
He say something like, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, I mean, he talked the whole game, and it was, after the game and after years of thinking about it, you're like, man, that dude. But he was, like Cap said, he was ridiculous as far as the way he played the game. And that's why he's one of the greatest players ever played.
Played it here.
Right.
Yeah, which is where it starts, right here.
Right.
Yeah, but tough also, too, right?
Superior,
I mean,
but just superior.
Larry Joe Bird beat every single last real nigga in his era. Everybody. Nobody else can say it. Not Magic, not Kareem, not MJ. Nobody can say that they beat every single last real nigga in their era. Bird did that. He beat everybody in the 80s, nigga. Can't nobody say that. He beat Dr. J, he beat Moses, he beat Magic, Kareem, Worthy, he beat Isaiah Thomas, Dumars, Rodman, he beat Adrian Deadly. Larry Bird cooked this nigga Rodman so bad. He cooked the nigga so bad. The nigga Rodman said, only reason Bird get that much hype is cause he white. You know what that sound like to me? That sound like that nigga Rodman was so salty he got cooked by Bird that he was like, hey man, only reason y'all boosting him is because he white. He beat, how many, bro, you know how many niggas Bird beat, bro? Can't nobody say that MJ didn't beat Bird. MJ didn't even get a game. Not one, bro. Not one. God in tennis shoes. The GOAT. That's my man, but he swept him. And you know what sweep means? That means I think he beat him in Boston, and then he went to Chicago. See, my thing with him beating Jordan is, damn, Jordan, you couldn't get one? You feel me? Jordan couldn't even get one. Magic never beat Jordan. You feel me? When you really, line it up, Kareem never beat Michael. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can say that they beat everybody. And Bird is the nigga to actually walk in the room and say, bro, look out. I beat you, I swept you. You supposed to be the GOAT, bro. I swept you twice. Oh, I forgot to tell you. He swept him again in 87. 87, Young. Hey, look out, Youngs. In 87, he swept him. LeBron fans, y'all gonna hate me.
I can remember the night he and I and Doug, we went out to Rush Street. And as you said, we had a couple beers, maybe a few too many because the Chicago cheerleading staff happened to be in the bar that we were at, and they kept sending us a few beers, and before we knew it, it was late at night, and we had a few too many. We got in a cab, and they got us back to the hotel, and about 6 hours later, we had to be up because we were playing a 12 o'clock game that afternoon, and we get to the arena, and, we're still a little tired, and matter of fact, Larry fell asleep on the taping table to get a little nap before the game, so we go out, and Larry takes his first shot. He misses everything. And I'm going, oh, Lordy. Bill Fitch is going to be all over me because he knew he was with me. And Robert Parrish picks up 3 quick fouls. So that means I got to go into the game and play a bunch of minutes that night. We ended up winning the game and winning the series against Chicago. Bird had, like you said, around 40 points. And as we're walking off the floor, I can remember this. Larry looked over at those cheerleaders and said, thanks a lot for those beers last night.
The doors had probably just opened to the arena. And these two guys walked around the corner. Our locker room wasn't well marked, so they probably thought they were just going into a restroom or probably just walking around seeing what they could find. They happened to walk into our locker room, and I could tell when they first walked around the corner that they were just shocked that they were in the Celtic locker room all of a sudden. And Larry, as soon as he sees him,
and he knows they're not supposed to be there. He says, "Oh, hi guys, come on in," and he invites them in the locker room, invites them to have some popcorn. The ball boys had already got some popcorn in there, and these guys were just like shell-shocked, that they walked into the place, and now Bird's making them stay in there, and they're like scared to death. And so he makes them sit down by his locker, and he gets them some popcorn. You guys need anything to drink? We got some beer back here for after the game, or Coke or pop, whatever you need. And then after every player would come in, Larry would introduce these guys to the player. And these guys, after a while, they just started eating this stuff up. Casey Jones walks in the locker room. "Casey, come over and meet my friends, my long-lost buddies." And it was just hilarious. I just always wondered after that night what happened to those guys, how many people they told that story to, and how many people believed it.
We was in Philadelphia, and it was around Christmas time, and the people dressing up like Santa Claus. They had like 4 or 5 of them sitting in one row. The game's going on, and they take me out of the game. We're sitting there, and I look over there, and there's these 4 Santa Claus getting in a fight, and these guys are pounding these Santa Clauses, and I'm sitting there going, "Holy cow!" I said, "What does all these kids think about this?" Sitting in the stands, and they look down there, 4-year-old kids, "Hey, Mama, there's Santa Claus," and all of a sudden you see him in a fist fight with some guy behind him. That was probably the most startling thing I've ever seen in my entire career.
I think the story that sums up Larry the best was back then when we flew commercial, we didn't fly private. We played in a Tuesday night game in Cleveland. And of course, we got up for the first flight out. We had a game on Wednesday night in New Jersey. Snowstorm hits Cleveland. We're at the airport at 7 in the morning. Flight's canceled at 7. It's canceled at 8. It's canceled at 9. It's canceled at 10. Canceled at 11, 12. We finally leave about 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon. We fly up to New Jersey. Now the storm has kind of moved into Jersey. And the bus driver says, "Well, I can't get to the hotel into the arena. I can only go to one place." Well, we had a game that night. We go to the arena. So we get to the arena, and we're dragging. And we're sitting around the locker room, and, and everybody's kind of, we're tired. And, and all of a sudden, the coach gives a little bit of a speech of, "Come on, man, guys, we're playing basketball. Let's get ready to go." And Larry stands up, and Larry says, a couple other few choice words, and he says, "I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to take it out on their rear ends." So I was like, "Oh, all right, so let's go." So we go on the floor. Elbert King sitting there, and Larry walks up to Elbert King and goes, "Don't take this butt whooping personally. I've been eating hot dogs all day." And then Elbert King looks at him like, "You've been eating hot dogs all day? What's that got to do with me?" And we went out and just hammered them. We terrorized them.
Bird free, 2. Bird right over Chapuka. Larry gets Chapuka in the air, gives to Paris for 2. Bird popping out, wants it. Got it. Not even halfway through the first quarter. Bird, baseline move, finds Bird. Fires right away. Bird hits it in traffic. Bird is free. Got it. Larry, good up fake on Chapuka. And hits. Bird open. Knew as soon as he shot it, it wasn't going to go, so he went and got it again. He's got John Long. Backs his way.
What a shot. What a shot.
Pistons by 3, looking for 5. Benson and Bird. Great play on the defensive end. Here comes a Boston break. 3-on-1. McHale to Larry. Got it. They find him on the baseline. Yes. Downfield. Bird outside. Larry's open.
Well, he'll give it and he'll take it.
Bird wants it. Got it. Dennis Johnson to pull up. No. Loose ball. Bird's got it. 2. What a ball game.
Beautiful rebound, and then good up fake. Up and in.
While Bird was still active, he never wanted to look back on the highlights of his career. He feared this was an admission that he was no longer still improving. The NBA will discover more stars. Boston will attach itself to another hero. But both will be a little emptier without Larry Bird. He put the fun into fundamentals. He wasn't into degree of difficulty. His career lasted 13 seasons. The pain those 13 seasons delivered will last a lifetime. His body started asking for timeouts in 1989. By 1992, his body would ask to quit.
He loves to portray himself as the hick from French Lick. This guy is truly a genius. He did things that nobody else had done, did do, or will ever do again.
From high school all the way up till now, if you give it 100% every day, good things are going to happen.
Good things happen to great players, especially Larry Bird, one of the NBA's fresher performers.
Never been comfortable being in the spotlight because I know how many people's helped me along the way.
But the national spotlight was on Larry Bird as Indiana State dedicated a statue of its most famous graduate.
If you dedicate yourself to something that you really love, your dreams will come true. And I know I'm living proof of that.
3, 2, 1.
It was also about dedicating a statue first envisioned by Indiana State students to be taller than the one at Bird rival Magic Johnson's alma mater.
The statue from the top of the basketball to the sidewalk measures 17 feet 1 1/8 inches. That is enough to dwarf the 12-foot structure at Michigan State.
I want to thank you so much for this day. This statue means so much to me, but I hope the future generations of young kids drive by here, maybe they'll aspire one or two of them. Hopefully they'll aspire a lot more, but if we can just help one kid or two kids to reach their dreams like I did, I'll be very happy. Thank you.
I love you, I respect you, and I admire you.